Welcome to TCC SYP. I am Mark from the Crystal Chronicles, your weekly Dissidia of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. We Twitch stream every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Standard Time to bring you all your Defo news and talk, and to go over in detail all the events that are going on, all the characters, the realizations, reworks, etc., and just to have a lot of fun. And so I encourage you to join us live or join us here on YouTube later. Also, you can join us Twitch video on demand the day after, or on your favorite podcast apps, or on our website, tccpodcast.com, where you can stream and download the podcast version, audio only, right to your favorite device. Hey, if you're watching, thank you. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. There's also links to our Discord, Facebook, Twitter to join us. Today I'm going to talk about my June pull plan. We just had the Squex Monday mobile stream with all of those hyped banners from all of those June events, at least for the first 3 weeks of June. And I'm just going to share what I am doing. So let's talk about the first banner, which is the raid event, which brings us two banners. Actually, the first has two new reworks and realizations. Lena and Cypher both get reworks and realizations. Fang's also there. And then the second banner with Ferris and Ace's EX and Creeley. She doesn't get her EX there, but Ferris and Ace have been around a while. They're still both fairly good, and likely one of them might get some character boards, so Ace might be a pretty good option if you already have him, but likely you're probably not going to pull, as there are just better banners to pull on, very truthfully. So let's talk about the banner of the hour, which is Lena and Cypher. Personally, I love Final Fantasy VIII, but I do already have Lena, and there's so much good coming out that I'm probably going to skip on this banner. Maybe I'll throw 13 tickets because I do like Cypher's kit quite a bit, but I already have Lena and a limited number of resources. Lena gets a rework. She gets an EX realization. She becomes better at what she does, which is prevent or give you immunity from debuffs. She's one of those characters that gives complete immunity to debuffs, like Ignis, so that's super useful. She gives pretty decent auras, but her main aura is I Brave. So she does give a good I Brave aura and I Brave regen, I believe. So she does well in those I Brave teams. She also gets a little bit of rework, so she's doing a little bit more damage, has a little bit better potencies, and she's going to be up to snuff. She's probably not the best support that we have this month, or even looking back, but if you have her, you're probably going to be able to use her and maybe be able to get away with using her without much ingot investment. Cypher gets a decent rework and or EX realization, making him even a more potent damage dealer, AoE damage dealer, and debuffer. So if you like the debuffers and you like Cypher and you like you need some AoE melee damage, he is a good option for you. And if you don't have either one of these, it's not a bad banner, but like I said earlier, I already have Lena. I have a lot of damage dealers, and of course debuffers I think are slightly less valued than just straight damage dealers in this game. So I am going to be passing on this, maybe 13 tickets to see if I could pick up Cypher, but for the most part, this is a skip for me. That brings us to our first Lost Chapter, Prompto's Lost Chapter. He gets his EX realization. Freya, for the first time, gets her EX and a realization, and King's also on this banner for moral support, I guess, as it's a nice ranged banner. Prompto is interesting. He's a weird kind of hybrid character that has the ability to evade attacks and impact the boss in some interesting ways. We talked about him a lot the first time he came around. Certainly not an essential character, but his kit is interesting. So as we get closer to this banner, if Prompto's a character you're like, I think you could probably have a lot of fun with him. His EX realization does make him viable in this chaos era. At this point, no one's going to be bad. And Freya actually gets a lot more support role, does a lot more damage, and her EX brings a lot more to her kit. So even at the end of the EX era, early chaos, Freya was still able to use with just her 15 and 35. Now she's going to get a lot more potency. I think Eroli, our friend, is going to be pulling on this banner and wants to use both of these, so she's going to be a good source of information for us moving forward. Again, I do kind of like the characters, but they're not the highest priority for me in terms of range support or ranged kind of I hate to call him a tank, but ranged utility, maybe let's call him that. I've got a lot in that in my personal kit. But if you're missing some range characters and range support, this may be a banner to consider. But this is a skip for me. I may throw 13 tickets just for luck. Now we come to the banner that I am spending a lot on, and this is our CLS Banner. She is a new character, and she gets Prisha's EX realization as well. So let's talk about Prish. She does more damage, and her EX realization allows her to imperil her elements, and I think get some free skills after she uses it too. So Prish is going to become more viable and a solid damage dealer. Again, probably not pulling on her for her unless she's a favorite and you missed her in the previous times. But if you get her and you're down some elemental damage dealing, she could really fill in a nice niche for you. Of course, Renault is here too, but she doesn't get her EX. And that brings us to Arciela, the Dancing Queen. The one thing I can say about Arciela is some people really hate her animations because every time you press a button, she takes a while to do what she does. That doesn't bother me at all. If that bothers you, that might be a reason to skip. And she's not necessary. Like, you can skip her. Everyone's going to hype her. I'm hyping her because she's amazing. She does everything she does really well. She is 100% pure support and does everything a support needs to do. You know, she heals. She provides party utility. She just has tons of longevity. She allows you to dispel. I mean, she has some of her own debuffs. I mean, she just does everything and does it really, really well. And she is an additional dispeller, which is really nice. And so if you're missing a dispeller, she's a great pickup. If you need some extra support, she's a great pickup. That being said, I have Vanille fully realized. I have Ferris fully realized. I have Belthier, who's not really a dispeller, but who can steal buffs, fully realized. I have Cloud with his World of Illusion weapon, fully realized. I have Vayne with Vanille Sphere, fully realized. I have, I think, all of the debuffers, and I still am planning to spend 75,000 gems on this banner because she is so good. I do have her in Japan, and she provides a ton of utility. That being said, some of her auras, I think especially her attack aura, is not significant. And so you want to not necessarily pair her as your only supporting character. But at this point, I think in the game, if you're running two straight DPS who provide no party utility, no party aura, you're probably not running the optimized teams. Most of our good kind of secondary damage dealers and a lot of our primary damage dealers do provide support to the team. Vayne, Leo, for example, they provide good party auras. Zac provides good party auras. Snow provides some auras. Waka. I mean, there's a lot of characters that provide auras to the party. So you can pair her with one of those characters that provide some good attack up and a third damage dealer, and you're going to have a really good team. Or moving forward, a lot of the LDBT characters do provide auras, and so that can help get through you some clutch events. But she is amazing. She's excellent at everything she does. If you're looking for that kind of pure whole support package, everything all in one, that is what she does, and she does it well. Just realize some of her auras are not as good as some of the other supports, and so you need to be planning on that. But I am planning to pity this banner, 75,000 gems or bust. And well, I'll get it in 75,000 gems. And I'm hoping to get Prisha's EX, and it might be something nice to have in my back pocket. That brings us to these mission dungeons, and we're going to get 2 triple EX banners, which for a lot of us, these are going to be skips, but especially for new players, this might be a couple banners to really consider. The banner with kind of old characters is, although we're going to get Paladin Cecil's costume, Paladin, Cecil, Setzer, and Belthier. They get all their EXs. You can fully realize all of them. They all are very good kind of utility support characters. They all have their niche. They all do what they do pretty well. I have actually all 3 of them fully realized, and I like all 3 of them. So if you're missing all 3 of these and you're a newer player and working on, tiers for Dimensions End, this might be a good banner to pick up. These triple EX banners right now are not bad, although moving forward, of course, we're going to have triple EX banners all the time with LDs and bursts, so you could hold off a little bit. But there potentially are some rewards for clearing Dimensions End a little bit early, so you might want to be working on that. The banner with the new characters is Cyan, Fujin, and Vanille. Vanille, of course, already has her full realization, but Cyan and Fujin, there's a lot of reworks. I already said Cypher and Lena get reworks, Prompto and Freya get reworks, Prish gets a rework, Cyan and Fujin get a rework, Zidon's going to get a rework later, but both of these characters, now Cyan's been a mem forever, but he's actually not terrible in his realized form with his EX and his EX realization. Two of the big things that he gets that everyone's talking about, of course, is his ability to dispel. So he's another dispeller. Of course, Vanille's a dispeller too on this banner. I'm not sure that that's why you would bring him. I think it's more like Cloud. It's nice to have a character like that who can dispel. But Cyan's big thing has always been he ignores defense. He still does that. He now does it a little bit more turn efficiently. He does it with more potency. So he's not terrible. He's not a mem. You can bring him to content. Is he the best character? No, but he's certainly not terrible. Fujin, on the other hand, is actually pretty amazing, and I think a lot of people will skip on her. But if you're all hyped about Keys, who I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, this is really a banner to consider because she does empower him and play well, especially if you're using Pandemonium as your summon, your key summon, which why wouldn't you? She, if you don't know what Fujin does, she does it right now, and you've actually seen her in Chaos. People have done Fujin runs in Chaos content, knowing because of the TCC challenge, we've seen that. She, just like Lulu, imperils and enchants her element, which is wind, the wind element. Now, with her EX and EX realization, she still does that, but she has some pretty decent auras. She may even get some healing. Don't quote me on that. And she's able to do quite a bit more damage. So her EX rework realization, she gets the whole shebang, and she's really pretty good. I'm kind of tempted to maybe throw some tickets on this. I'm currently not planning on it, mostly because I don't care about Keys, and I already have Lulu as an enchanter, and I already have Garnet as an enchanter. So I'm going to have, and I have a lot of other enchanters, Imperil enchanters too. I have Onion Knight as well. But in terms of the pure enchant Imperil, I have Lulu, and I'm going to have Garnet. So I'm not too worried about that. But I kind of like her. I'm not going to lie. She is really good and probably going to be underrated by a lot of people. Well, that brings us to the next lost chapter, which is Elfinod, and Elfinod gets his EX. Remember, he's a late EX era character who did not have an EX weapon, so he finally gets his EX weapon and his Black Moonstone, little avatar thing that follows him around, and a rework. I believe, does he get a rework? No, he does not get a rework. These two characters don't get reworks, but he does get his EX and EX realization. Yitta gets her EX realization, and Celeste is on this banner as well. Yitta actually's EX realization is really, really nice. It makes her ridiculously powerful. Her EX is fast charging anyway, gives her much more utility with how her kind of form works. You know, she's one of those characters you're going to have a rotation. She has a lot more flexibility now, and her damage output is significant. So I'm actually kind of excited. I already have Yitta. I really like Yitta. I mean, she was helpful in the 15 only era. She had an HP, Brave plus HP attack. She was helpful in the, she was a little bit more in her 35 era. But her EX, I like her EX and used her in the EX era and early Chaos. And now with her realization, I think she's a viable character. Again, she's DPS, and so, you know, you probably have quite a few of those. But, yeah, I think she's worth it. Elfinod is super awesome. And again, I think a lot of people are going to hype him up, but he's really, really good. Again, he provides ridiculous auras. He does significant damage, and kind of the same thing he did before. He just does it even better and more strong. And so he's going to be a good magic pairing, and he's going to pair well with a lot of other characters like Arceella. Him and Arceella actually pair together really, really nicely. But he's going to pair well with a lot of other supports and a lot of other damage dealers. So he's just a really solid character with really cool animations, and you know, you gotta love all the characters with pets or etc. with them. So I am planning to spend 200 tickets. That's my limit, my ticket limit. So I'm planning to spend 200 tickets, hopefully to get Elfinod. If not, I'm going to be able to live without him, but that's my hope. And that brings us to the final banner of this Squex mobile stream. It probably will not be the final banner of the month, as we probably will get the chapter banner, which has Cloud of Darkness and Kefka's EX realization on it. But the final banner that we have known about officially is the Keys banner, and this will probably be the most hyped banner of this month. Keys, he's so good. Keys, he's a better Lael. Keys, he's the best launcher. Keys, he can solo all Tyrion, he can't solo anything. And just be careful, as our good friend Black Cloud, Black Nero on YouTube, go check out his Black Thoughts on the stream. As he has pointed out to us many times, Keese is not a character who you can just throw into a team and hope he does ridiculous damage. We just had Jack here a week ago. Jack is just a damage dealer. You bring him with a team that supports damage dealers and he does damage, right? It's plain and simple. Yida is going to be the same way. She's a damage dealer. You bring some people who support damage dealers, she's going to do her job. Keese does a lot of damage, but his main role is to support the launch mechanic. He empowers launch, makes launch do more damage. And so he pairs well with other launchers, like his banner mate Zidane, who gets a rework and a realization, and his other banner mate Cloud, who is a launcher. And of course we have Lael, and we have Dark Knight Cecil, we have Sync, and there's some others that I might be forgetting. But all of those characters who launch will do well with him, because the more launches you have, or, moving forward, there's characters that remove turns and things like that, and maybe some turn manipulation. Anything that can set up more launches is going to do more damage. The more time you're spending in launch, the more damage you're going to do with Keese. That's why you're going to hear people, content creators especially, are going to say, Keese is still being used in Japan. Yes, because there are still new launchers coming out. Cloud gets a LD and a BT. Dark Knight Cecil gets a LD, and they are launchers. And so you bring Keese, and he makes them better. He is a support to launchers, even though he himself is doing massive damage in launch. He enables the launch mechanic. Personally, I'm kind of done with the launch mechanic. I know it's a fundamental part of the game, which is why Keese will be valuable for a long time, because you're always going to get every couple of months a good launch character, right? Because it is a fundamental part of the Dissidia franchise. I kind of got burned out by the launch in the original Lael Selfie. If you're not familiar, Lael Selfie, Kate Sith, and their 1535 era. That was kind of the launch team. You brought Lael as your launcher, and Kate Sith and Selfie batteried, and you just kind of beat content easily. It was never a playstyle that I enjoyed, and so I'm kind of, even though I have a lot of those launchers, I have Lael, I don't have his EX, and I have Cloud and Dark Knight Cecil fully realized. But even I don't particularly enjoy them for the launch mechanic. So I am, because he is amazing. I'm planning to do 200 tickets, but if I don't get him, I'm going to pass him by. I think Zidane is a little bit underrated. So if you have him and like him, I think you can use him really well. Yes, he does launch as well, but he has got some solid debuffs. Significant debuffs too. I think some of his debuffs are some of the more potent debuffs in the game. So, and he gets some new mechanics with his EX and ELX realization. Of course, we'll talk all about that every week on the Crystal Chronicles, and share all about all our experience with the characters. I don't want to talk too much theory in these videos without really being able just to kind of tell you. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking, my initial impressions. So, yes, Keese is amazing, but if you're pulling for him, realize you're going to need some other characters. So if you don't have those characters who are going to pair well with him, you're going to need to pull for Fujin. You're going to need to pull for some other characters moving forward to keep him relevant. If you just want a solid damage dealer, he may not be your guy. And if you don't really care about launch like I do, he's probably a decent person to skip. So here's my pull plan for June. Again, I'm trying to save a lot of resources for the early BT era, LD era, the new weapons. So I'm planning to skip everything except Arciela Petty. I really want Arciela. I love her. She's really solid. And then 200 tickets on Elfenod, 200 tickets on Keese. If I don't get it, I'm walking away. Right now I have 750,000 gems. I have 691 tickets, but I also have 649 tickets in my summon boards unclaimed. So that still gives me tickets to go into July, because friends, if you think this month is hyped, wait till next month, because a lot of people are going to be, yeah, Cypher Lena you can skip, yeah, Prompto Freya you can skip, maybe even Cyan Fujin you can skip. Every single banner next month, July, is going to be hyped. Every single banner, and for good reason. They're all powerful, they're all good, and the characters who get realizations are good. But you have to pick and choose. Either you're going to spend all kinds of money and then have a whole stockpile of characters you can't realize and who you can only bring, 3 characters at Dimension's End anyway per tier. And so you're going to end up with a whole bunch of characters, and you've lost a whole bunch of money, or even if you've been lucky, you just don't have the resources to realize them. And you're not going to be prepared for the next wave of things, which is the new weapons, which are significantly more powerful and give a whole new kind of turn towards the game. So I encourage you to save if you can. If you want Arciela, she's going to help a lot on tier 12. She can't solo it, so you got to bring some support. Keese is going to be with you for a long time, especially if you like his mechanic and you build around him, you're going to be okay. So that's my plan. I hope your plan is different, but should you pull? That's up to you. What do you have? What are your resources? Think for yourself. And if you need help, hey, got plenty of resources. Our friend Macnell, DecidiaInfo.com. Our friends, the Tomberry Troop, TomberryTroop.com, Rem, DecidiaDB.com, Safina's database, the official Reddit. Those are great resources. And here's a list of all my friends who content create. Jin Lei, Inkwelder, Strafe, Quetz, who runs MateriaBot, Munchkins Gaming, Amaterasu, Laylee, Arrow, Black Nero, Vane Novus, Dreamy, Soul Defo, Broadway Saiyan, Josepher, Lids, Resfoina, TXB Gaming, Masaleno, Chris5248, Drew Zane. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry, let me know and I'll add you in. But I watch all of these people do their thing every single week, and I love them, and I love their insight, and I love their different opinions. And of course, every Thursday night, the Crystal Chronicles podcast, you have 3 or more different people giving their perspective, their firsthand experience on every single event, every single character. And we just like to have fun with this game. So think for yourself, make your own decisions. That's my take on it and what I'm planning to do. But for you, hey, as you approach these hype banners, the best of luck, good pulling, and goodbye.